DevOps Foundation Course, Lesson 2, Introducing DevOps, Part 1. Welcome to Lesson 2. In this lesson, we'll start to look at what DevOps is in more detail, including why start with the why? What is DevOps? What DevOps isn't? We're going to begin this lesson by looking at Start with Why, a technique pioneered by Simon Sinek. Use the links on your screen to view Simon's TED Talk and to visit Simon's website and learn more. Pay particular attention to the golden circle. We'll review it on the next screen. Click the Next button when you're ready to move on. Here's the golden circle on screen. When we adopt DevOps as an organization, it's essential we understand our organization's why. If we don't link DevOps to a why, it won't be seen as delivering value or contributing to business goals. It will be harder to change people's behavior because the belief system won't be shared. Any new way of working must contribute value to the organization, or there's no point adopting it. You might have experienced a strong why in your own career. Have you ever had a project that you believed in so much you were prepared to do whatever was needed? What was the why? Have you ever had a project with no why? What happened? Were people disinterested and unmotivated? To succeed, DevOps must be adopted by the business, not just seen as an IT initiative. Some common reasons for adopting DevOps include industry changes, increased competition, a need for speed or an increased sense of urgency, higher levels of change, failing deployments and changes. What is your organization's why? The outcome economy is a business driver for DevOps cited by many organizations. This is a shift from competing by selling products and services to competing by selling measurable results that are important to the customer. As defined by Accenture, in this economy, buyers want to buy an outcome, not a product. Sellers gain their business by promising to deliver an outcome. Now let's start to think about what DevOps actually is. The term DevOps gives us some clues. It includes both dev and ops teams for a start. But that's not really the whole picture. The business is a critical part of DevOps, and many other stakeholders will be involved too in some way, from suppliers to trade unions to shareholders. Our stakeholders might set our agenda and goals, or they might be involved with our processes. In a way, Biz DevOps might be a better, more inclusive term, but DevOps is the one that is stuck. DevOps will mean different things to different people. Before we start to look at the definition in detail, let's consider that with an exercise. Plan to spend about 30 minutes on this. It will be useful to help you understand the DevOps why for your own organization. We've mentioned already that DevOps allows dev and ops to work more efficiently and deliver business value faster. For each of the groups on screen now, think about two things. Firstly, how might this group define DevOps? And secondly, what benefits would they expect to see from DevOps? For example, support professionals might define DevOps as a way for them to get involved with development teams, with the benefit being they have better knowledge and can provide better support. You can see the definition of DevOps here. It's a cultural and professional movement that stresses communication, collaboration, and integration between software developers and IT operations professionals, while automating the process of software delivery and infrastructure changes. It aims at establishing a culture and environment where building, testing, and releasing software can happen rapidly, frequently, and more reliably. There are some important terms here. Firstly, DevOps is a movement, a new way of thinking and working. It's not a single standard, framework, a book, or a method. It's primarily focused on cultural change. Secondly, it stresses communication, collaboration, and integration. These three areas are the essence of DevOps. Pay close attention to this definition. It's important for your exam and for helping you to make the right decisions when you make changes in your own organization. DevOps recognizes that traditional dev and ops practices are no longer enough. The business wants to see more IT services better and faster. The pace of technology change is accelerating, and IT must meet this demand without sacrificing quality or incurring unreasonable technical debt. DevOps allows IT to meet stakeholder demands for more rapid change and more production releases without losing quality. The terms you can see on your screen show the types of change that have prompted DevOps thinking. If you need a definition of any of them, just click on the term. Virtualization is defined as the process of creating logical computing resources from available physical resources. This is done using virtualization software to create a layer of abstraction between workloads and the underlying physical hardware. For example, an organization might have 3 applications sitting on 3 separate servers, each underutilized. Virtualization would allow them to create 3 virtual servers on one single physical server. This would not affect the application performance or user experience, but would save time, energy, and resources. Cloud computing is the practice of using a network of remote servers hosted on the Internet to store, manage, and process data, rather than a local server or personal computer. Organizations might choose cloud computing to reduce costs, reduce the amount of infrastructure they support, or take advantage of economies of scale to improve performance and availability. Bring your own device, or BYOD, is the practice of allowing the employees of an organization to use their own computers, smartphones, or other devices for work purposes. This is becoming more and more common, but needs to be managed carefully. Considerations include: do employees' personal devices have up-to-date antivirus software? What level of support is the company expected to provide? What happens to company data held on an employee's device when that person leaves their employment? Bring Your Own Application, or BYOA, is an extension of the Bring Your Own Device trend towards the increasing consumerization of IT. Employees are bringing the cloud apps they use on their personal devices to work. Most organizations cannot avoid BYOA. Rather than implement restrictive controls to prevent it, it's better to introduce management to reduce risk, for example, from viruses or unapproved software. Bring Your Own Identity, or BYOI, is an approach to digital authentication in which an end user's username and password are managed by a third party. This could mean, for example, allowing users to log in with Facebook or log in with Twitter, essentially allowing them to use an online identity they have already created. This can make logging in simpler and faster, but security concerns need to be analyzed and addressed. Mobile computing is a generic term describing the ability to use technology to wirelessly connect to and use centrally located information and/or application software through small, portable, and wireless computing and communication devices. Most business staff now want the ability to work on the go. Mobile computing has benefits and risks, and each organization needs to decide how it will manage mobile computing. Through communication, collaboration, and integration, DevOps provides many benefits. It allows IT to respond effectively to accelerated demand for quality software products and services by acknowledging the interdependence of IT functions. It recognizes the need for cultural improvements and supports and leverages agile, lean, and IT service management practices, all of which we'll study in this course. DevOps also encourages the use of automation where appropriate, which can both speed up change and reduce the potential for error. DevOps is not just about dev and ops. It includes anyone, inside or outside the organization, who is involved in improving service delivery. To bring in a DevOps way of working, it's important to identify the stakeholders involved. Dev stakeholders are anyone involved in developing software products and services. You can see some examples here. Ops stakeholders are anyone involved in delivering and managing software products and services. You can see some examples of ops stakeholders here. Notice how some stakeholders already appear on both the Dev and Ops lists. This might be a good place to start making some changes and looking at how Dev and Ops activities can be integrated. Let's take a look at DevOps goals now. You can see some examples on screen. You'll notice that many of these goals are interrelated. For example, smaller, more frequent releases might allow organizations to reduce risk, improve quality, and speed up the flow of work. Many of these goals contribute to an overall reduction in time to market. This is defined as the amount of time it takes to get from a product idea through to an available product. Which of these goals would be most attractive to your business? If you were building a business case, what would you focus on? As well as its goals, there are also some important DevOps values. These are culture, automation, lean, measurement, sharing. You can remember them as COMS. These were originally defined without lean during 2010 at one of the first U.S. DevOps days by John Willis and Damon Edwards. Jez Humble created this alternative version, which adds an L for lean to become COMS. Click on the 5 words to see their definition. The DevOps scope can be thought of as people, process, and technology. Culture covers the people and process aspects. Culture includes communication, collaboration, and behaviors, how we work together. Automation includes tools that enable the automation of tasks, like testing and deploying software. Release management, configuration management, and monitoring and control tools all enable automation and are important parts of DevOps. Put very simply, Lean means creating more value for customers with fewer resources. We'll be studying Lean in more detail later in the course. Does your organization carry out any tasks in a wasteful or inefficient way? If you can't measure something, you don't know how it's performing, and you can't improve it. From a DevOps perspective, measurement is essential. A successful DevOps implementation will measure everything that is relevant. Measurement will demonstrate the value of DevOps. For example, faster releases have saved the organization $100,000 in lost work hours. It also highlights opportunities for improvement. For example, 5% of our releases failed, which might be above the acceptable level for the business. For DevOps to be successful, we need to create a culture of sharing, both ideas and problems. Sharing will improve communication and collaboration, and it will also help the organization to learn and get better. Sharing can be thought of as a feedback loop. We did it this way, and here's what we learned. You might have experienced a situation where there was a failure and someone said, "Oh, I could have told you that would happen." Sharing can help to avoid this.